To be or not to be. A bee garden is a way to relax after a stress-filled day. It has been found that communing with nature can lower levels of cortisol, and flowers make us happy. Bees develop healthy and fertile soil. Bees can increase your harvest by also helping to attract beneficial insects for pest control like butterflies, and they can also attract birds. Bee gardens are healthy, not just for bees, but also for the environment as well. A bee garden uses a balance without use of pesticides. More than 30% of our food crops rely on pollination by bees to produce their fruits and seeds. Some studies found that individuals recovering in a hospital did better, more or less, and had less medication because of actually being able to look out of a window and see a garden. 90% of our vitamin C comes from insect-pollinated plants. Bees are the most prolific pollinators. They facilitate the fertilization of the flowering plant on whose pollen and nectar they feed. Without bees, many flowering plants would not be able to produce at a sufficient high ratio. Over 70% of the world's plants depend on the pollination services of bees, including many nuts, fruits, tomatoes, peppers, even berries. Even plants that we enjoy, their roots rely on bees to pollinate the plants to enable the production of seeds for the next year. Hymenoptera is a large and very diverse group of insects. Bees belong to this order along with wasps and ants. These are often social, have 2 sets of wings, and have stingers. Many species of Hymenoptera are beneficial because they feed on and regulate the other insects. Despite the fact that a large number of landscape plants have the ability to support wildlife, surprisingly, most American neighborhoods are dominated by a formulaic prescription of lawn-clipped shrubs, pollard trees, and a small patch of annuals. There is no biodiversity. Bees prefer yellows, blue, white, and pink flowers. An effective bee garden doesn't have to be big and complicated. By starting a bee garden, we make a difference, especially since there has been a colony collapse. In other words, there has been a decline in the honeybee population. Pollinators serve more than 180,000 different plant species and more than 120,000 crops. Pollinators add $217 billion to the global economy, and honeybees alone are responsible for $1.2 through $5.4 billion in U.S. agriculture productivity. 1 out of 3 bites of food you eat is there because of pollinators. In addition to the food that we eat, pollinators support healthy ecosystems that clean the air, stabilize soil, protect from severe weather, and support wildlife. Plants too attract pollinators, such as lavender, rosemary, echinacea, sunflowers, and catnip. 3 simple ways to support pollinators. Plant a pollinator-friendly garden. Flowers provide the nectar and pollen resources that pollinators feed on. Growing pollinator-friendly flowers, shrubs, and trees with overlapping bloom times will support pollination from spring through fall. Create nest sites. Pollinators need a place to lay eggs and for larvae to grow. You can install bee nesting blocks or simply leave patches of bare ground and brush piles for nature bees to occupy. and make homes for caterpillars by growing host plants for butterflies found in your area. Skip the spray. Pesticides are harmful to pollinators. This is especially true of insecticides, but herbicides can reduce food sources for pollinators by removing flowering plants from the landscape. Bees are essential. Their ecological service is valued at 200 billion each year in America. Bees, they do not willfully attack us. Bees use sting as a response to defend themselves, their nests, or after being swatted. Bees are not like wasps. The only thing bees want to do is gather nectar from a flower or native tree and take it back to the nest. Again, bees are essential. They are a vital part of our food chain. A bee garden can have health benefits as a stress reliever and aid in the reduction of medications. A bee garden can enhance your outlook on things in general just from the sheer beauty of it. We all like looking at beauty, don't we? A world without pollinators is like a world without cake, water, or soft drinks, which are all things I love.